Hi, good evening once again to the young people. This is the Young Believer's Guide for Life. We've been talking about things that will be helpful to all of us, but especially to the young people this quarter. We talked about some apologetic things at the beginning of this year. And then now we're moving into some practical things. And tonight takes us to drinking and tobacco. Drinking and tobacco. And I want to begin by reminding us what we saw last week. Um, what we saw last week, so some things that we need to think about in regards to last week. Remember that we are to be lights of the world. Jesus says in Matthew 5:16, "You are the light of the world." Paul writes to the Corinthians that you are to be a living epistle, a different people, a holy race, a royal generation, a holy people. And that means we have the scriptures as our standard. We have a different standard uh, from our friends and a higher calling. And that all rings true for modesty, which we talked about last week, how we're different, and so that affects the way that we dress. Now, it uh, being a different people now, I want to talk about how it affects the use of the body. We want to talk about drinking and tobacco. Can Christians be involved in these actions? Now, it is true, young people, that you'll get by your friends and they will say, "There's not one verse in the Bible that says, thou shalt not smoke weed or marijuana. Thou shalt not drink tequila or whiskey." And you will find no such verse in the Bible. But however, there are direct Bible principles that drinking alcohol, and I believe even smoking tobacco, violates. And that all starts with the understanding that we are to be sober minded. That means that we are to have our wits about us, nothing inhibiting and clouding our judgment. Galatians 5:22, it's part of the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Peter says, girding up the loins of your mind, be sober-minded, be ready for action. Young people, we can't be ready for action when our mind is altered by these substances. Nicotine, and not just alcohol. We'll mainly talk about alcohol this evening, but tobacco, nicotine. Studies have shown that it alters mood in the brain, and the brain starts craving it. We are to be sober minded. And secondly, 1 Corinthians 6, in the context of sexual immorality, Paul tells us that our body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. Now I know the context is sexual immorality, but it rings true. Let's read Paul in 1 Corinthians 6:18 through 20. Flee fornication. Everything that a man doeth is without the body, but he that committeth fornication sinneth against his own body. Or know ye not that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, which is in you, which ye have from God, and ye are not your own, for ye were bought with a price, so glorify God therefore in your body. Is drinking, smoking going to glorify God in my temple? Or is it going to defile my temple? Jesus, if you remember in John 2, one of the first things Jesus is depicted as doing is driving out things from the temple that should not be there. This is the same thing with smoking and alcohol. Then there's this passage in 1 Corinthians 9. Paul says that he disciplines his body. So 3 chapters past this, we have this. Know ye not that they that run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize? Even so run that ye may attain. And every man that striveth in the games exerciseth self-control in all things. Now they do it to receive a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible. I therefore so run, as not uncertainly. So fight I not as beating the air, but I buffet my body. That means I bring it into control. Lest by any means, after I preach to others, I myself should be disqualified. Discipline our body. Do you think allowing something to influence us, control us, get us addicted is disciplining our body? I think not. Paul says, I run the race. There's a race to run, folks. Young people, you are in a race not against your peers, but a race to get to heaven. Are these two things up on the screen gonna help you do that? Or are they going to hinder your walk? If they're going to hinder your walk, I need not, as a different holy person, be involved in either of these things. Romans 12:1 and 2, Paul says, don't be conformed to the world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Don't be molded like the world. Young people, you are to be different. Don't be like the world. So, if the world's doing it, doesn't mean you can. James tells us that friendship with the world is enmity, is hatred to God. What about drinking in general? Smoking is being less and less popular, and there's healthy alternatives, vaping. And I could list some health benefits, some not benefits, but health risks associated with smoking. We can talk about cancer. We could talk about lungs disease. But we're interested interested in these spiritual things. But I want to spend the rest of our time talking about drinking, because this seems to be more prevalent. Let me give you some staggering statistics. 1 in 6 U.S. adults binge drink about 4 times a month, consuming about 7 drinks per binge. 17 billion binge drinks are consumed by adults annually, or 467 drinks per binge drinker. 8% of people 18 and older reported binge drinking in the past month. 3% reported heavy alcohol use in the past month. This is from the addictionhelp.com. You can see the link there. If you want this article, I can send it to you. I was researching today and found these facts. That's just binge drinking. Let's look at more stats here. 29 people per day, or 1 every 15 minutes, die in motor vehicle crashes that involve an alcohol-impaired driver in the U.S. 29 people per day, 1 every 15 minutes. We're going to be for 30 minutes closer to another death due to alcohol. $44 billion is spent on alcohol-related crashes each year in the U.S. Paying bills, financing medical bills. This is a lot. 10,497 people died in alcohol-impaired driving crashes in 2016. These are crazy. 28% of all traffic-related deaths in 2016 involved alcohol-impaired driving. 17% of traffic deaths among children ages 0 to 14 involved in alcohol-impaired driving. So this is a big problem. The effects are real. What's in Proverbs 29? What are the effects of drinking? Because in all the advertisements, it's all good time, right? They don't show you the after effects. Proverbs 29. Well, let's read this together and then the lesson will be yours, young people. Proverbs 29. Excuse me, Proverbs 23. 29. Who hath woe? Who hath sorrow? Who hath contentions? Who hath complaints? Who has wounds without cause? Wow. Who hath redness of eyes? Redness of eyes? Wow. redness of eyes. Look at verse 30. Who has these things? They that tarry long at the wine, they that go to seek out mixed wine. Look not thou upon the wine when it is red, when it sparkles in the cup, when it goes down smoothly, when it looks good. At the last it biteth like a serpent, and stingeth like an adder. It'll bite you, it bites like a serpent, stings like a viper. Yeah, after all this, well, let's keep reading. Thine eyes shall behold strange things, and thy heart shall reverse things. Yea, thou shalt be as he that lieth down in the midst of the sea. You get all wobbly, or as he that lieth upon the top of a mast. They have stricken me, shalt thou say, and I was not hurt. They have beaten me, and I felt it not. When shall I awake? I will seek another drink, or seek it yet again. These people, you would think, with all the effects of drinking listed in Proverbs 29, and young people, if you talk to somebody who is a honest, recovering drug addict, or who have a drinking problem, who's recovering, they're gonna say Proverbs 23 is absolutely true. It's absolutely true. But yet, what do? Seek another drink. It's addictive. What I'm trying to get across to young people is don't start down that path. You gotta influence to uphold. Don't seek another drink. So thank you all for being here, and Lord willing, we will continue next week. I want to talk about a hot button issue next week: marriage, divorce, and remarriage. So we'll see what Jesus says about that in Matthew 19. Don't go down this path. I hope this short study has served as a big warning sign. Alcoholism is just not wise for a child of God, someone who is trying to do what's right and being influenced on the world. Thank you all, and God bless.